All right. Welcome to the Deer Park Toastmasters Club 6859. It's January June the 17th. And the important thing about June the 17th, you might be wondering what's important about June the 17th. Actually, a few things happened in history on June the 17th. In 1885, June the 17th, the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York Harbor and was disassembled in 350 pieces on the ship. 1940, I didn't realize Iceland was actually independent, but 1940, Iceland declared independence from Denmark in the 1840. And 1972, if anyone was around at that time, Watergate break-in. On June the 17th, 5 men were arrested breaking into the DNC headquarters at the Watergate complex. The scandal eventually led to President Nixon's resignation. And in 2015, more recent one, this is a tragic one, Charleston church shooting in South Carolina, a tragic event that sparked major conversations about gun control and racial violence in the U.S. 2015 on June 17th. And this one's new to me. June 17th is also World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought. Okay, so it's a global climate change issue, desertification. All right. So the mission statement, the club mission statement is to the Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Applause. Okay. So we do have quite a few guests today because this is a special session. And I think some of the guests, maybe they saw us on the District 60 website and probably through LinkedIn, also from Eventbrite. There's also a poster on Yonge and St Clair there as well on one of the public bulletin boards. So if I will ask if you're comfortable, I will ask you to introduce yourself, your name, why you're here, what you want to get out of Toastmasters or public speaking. And I'll start with our guest speaker, Janice Law. Want to introduce yourself?
Hi. Hi everyone, my name is Janice Law. I am delighted to be here at Deer Park Toastmaster. I'm a frequent user of the Toronto Toastmaster, and I did not know that there is a club in this branch. Well, mind you, I don't come over to this branch much, but my home club is called Brevity Toastmaster. We are also a 4-digit club, 1651. So we are both quite old in District 60, and I'm delighted to share with you what I've put together in terms of clear and concise communication. Hopefully, it will bring some value to you this week, tomorrow, maybe next month, something like that. Thank you.
Yes. We have some first-time visitors here.
Hi. Okay, I should stand up. My name is Kat, Catherine. First time being here. Always heard about Toastmasters for a very long time, but my husband attended last week's event, last week, and he encouraged me, and so I'm here.
Here's Caitlin.
Yes.
John?
Hi. John, I attended last week for the first time, kind of gained some more confidence, and Alan kind of brought me in, and now I'm excited to learn from you today about everything. So.
And over there.
Oh, Victoria.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Victoria. I've heard about Toastmasters for a long time. I have a friend who's been going for a few years and really loved it. I finally got myself stop being lazy and got myself here. So I'm just hoping to improve my public speaking and get more comfortable with that. I won't say because I'm too shy, but hi everyone, my name is Ella. I just figured out what Toastmaster was. My friend brought me here, but I'm really excited to, gain the confidence to be able to communicate and grow my career.
Hi, my name is Wes. This is my second Toastmasters workshop that I'm coming to, and I'm just looking forward to listening to the discussion and learning more.
Hi everyone, I'm Luis. This is my second time. I think another group in downtown. But I live in the area, so I prefer to attend another one. And yeah, I share the same goal with you guys, and glad to be here.
Yes, my name is Magic. I've been a Toastmaster for 15 years, but in District 86, so I know that district inside out, backwards, forwards. So what I've done is go to new pastures and move into District 60, where I joined Goodyear Toastmasters. I'll also be taking the area director role, but more importantly, it's getting to know people in a new beginner's mind way. So, thank you.
My name is Patricia, and this is my second time as a guest. I was recruited by Alan, who I know from another endeavor. And I'm retired, so it's not really to speak at my workplace, but I thought that if I get involved with a charity or do volunteer work, that there may be an occasion where I do have to chair a meeting or do some public speaking. So that's why I'm here.
Hello everyone, my name is Roshana. My nickname is Roshi. It's the first time I participate in Toastmasters class. I know a lot about your coordinate, and I wish to help me to speak English better. Your class. Thank you.
I think I missed anyone, but thank you for coming. And there is a segment later in the meeting called Table Topics, and guests are actually encouraged to participate in that. It's an impromptu speaking exercise. So I'd like to invite our wordsmith today, which is Kelsey Moy, to introduce the word of the day.
Thank you, Alan.
For the guests, the word of the day is an opportunity to use a word that we might not be familiar with or might use on a daily basis and expand our vocabulary in that way. So the word I pulled from the deck for today is vacuity, which means emptiness, vacancy, inanity. As I walk through and begin my speech, my mind is in a state of vacuity. So again, it means emptiness or vacancy. Vacuity. So the goal is to use this word as often as we can when there is speaking opportunities throughout the meeting. And I will also be keeping track of use of filler words like and on and report on all of that towards the end of the meeting.
All right, now it's time to get to the main part of the meeting. Today we have a workshop. Our guest speaker, Janice Law, and the workshop is clear and concise communication at work. And if any of these sound familiar, you present a strong idea, the room stays quiet, you're put on the spot in a meeting, your brain goes blank, you leave the conversation thinking of the perfect thing you should have said. So this workshop, the goal is to fix that. So learn from creativity expert Janice Law how to structure your message for brevity and clarity at the workplace. Please welcome Janice Law.
Thank you. This is kind of awkward. I promise not to let you draw. I got you. All right. Clear and concise communication at work. Let's start by doing a little exercise. Should I be here? Here? Awkward. Can you see me still?
Yeah. Super.
All right. So if I say the same thing 3 times, say again, Toastmaster is good. Is a good program to improve your communication skills. Toastmaster is a good program to improve your communication skills. Toastmaster is a good program to improve your communication skills. If I say the sentence 3 times, did you get the message? Yeah. You will have gotten it. But is that concise? Now the message is clear. No misunderstanding there. But is it concise? Of course not. I've wasted your time saying the same thing 3 times, right? So how do we be clear and concise at the same time? So that is the challenge we're faced today. And today, in the next hour or so, there will be built-in Q&A. I'm going to share with you the mindset, the skill set, and the tool set that you'll need to have clear and concise communication at work. And I know, Patricia, you said that you're retired, you don't need to communicate at any work, but hey, volunteer work is also work. There's clear and concise, there's a place for it wherever you go. So let's get started. The mindset. Let's start with why. Okay. I've done training for Toastmaster, trained for club officer. I've done training to train interpreter. It's very important to share the why, because when you're on board with me, yes, you're here, you're taking the workshop. So yes, you're on board somehow, but let me really share with you why. It is so important to have clear and concise communication at work or otherwise. I'm going to share a quote from Creative Master, CEO of Disney. Started May 1st. Bob Iger said, "Your strategy is only as good as your ability to articulate it." Let that sink in for a moment. Your strategy is only as good as your ability to articulate it. So you may be at a fundraising drive. You want to convince people to follow your cause. You want to tell the other department or the other team to loan whatever 2-man headcount. You want to convince your boss to approve your Toastmaster membership. To use your educational funding. Okay. So you need to be able to articulate that well. If not, a brilliant ideas die on the floor. So I realize it's not at a very optimal angle. Not everyone can see it, so I'm going to repeat what's mentioned in the slide. So why does it matter, number one? Well, it's very fair. You're judged by how you speak. And people formed their impression about you very fast. I think there's, what is the statistic from the book from Malcolm Gladwell, Blink? Is it first, 8 seconds or? Well, YouTube is using the first 15 seconds to judge whether or not that video or shorts is worth, sharing with the world. So, well, you figure it out. It's less than a minute, let's just say that, okay? When you speak clear, your clarity signals competence. When you ramble, when you stutter, when you ramble, when you speak without logic, or is very hard to follow, well, it signals uncertainty. Even if you know your shit. So this is real. And confidence in your articulation, in your vocal, in your verbal communication skills signals leadership. Because, well, you need to be able to communicate your message so that you have your troops follow behind you to go the same way, to carry out a task, to fulfill a deadline. So this is why clear and concise communication is important. Reason number 2, why it matters. Okay. Can you guess? Well, especially at work, because, well, time is money. Well, you can take your time at home, maybe. Sweet talking with your partner, all that in the middle of the night, okay. But at work, time is money. Well, when you are also spending other people's time. Okay. It could be your fellow teammates' time, if you're an individual contributor. It could be your boss time, you were trying to go over something. It could be your client's time, if you're doing a meeting with your client. Every minute of confusion has a cost. So, well, that's not waste more money. A meeting without an agenda or a clear purpose, well, who have that? Who have experienced that? Yeah. Okay, I'm thrilled to know that I'm not alone. A question that is vague or poorly worded. Who have been to some sort of talk and there was an open Q&A at the end, and then someone just had the mic and took a minute to set up the question. I really enjoyed your talk, Janice, and it's really great, and it's wonderful, and I just think that it is sometimes, and it's a setup, it was so long and they couldn't get to the point, and when they finally mutter the question, then there is some sort of like a twist to it, or it's not one question, there's a, one question plus have another question, so yeah, that happens. Yeah, you think that? Okay, is clear and concise communication is not, quiet and passive communication, okay? So I need to know that you are with me, following the train of thought here. The last thing, I know we are focusing on verbal communication. Okay? It is Toastmaster after all. I hope there's a toast. I haven't fully read the.
We normally do have a toast, but today we have a consolidated agenda, no toast. Yeah.
So
next week.
Come back next week for the regular club meeting where you could be partaking in a toast. Well, who have received an email without a suitable or appropriate or pertinent subject line? The email body has nothing to do with the subject line. There is many back and forth, and there is no trace of that subject line is no longer relevant. Okay, so here in Toastmaster we focus on verbal communication, but a lot of what I'm sharing today also applies to written communication, because we need to do both at work. And a lot of time, after your verbal communication, make sure you back it up with writing too, because, a lot of people have very faint memory. So you'll come to know that being brief is not being cold or being unfriendly. Being brief is being respectful of each other's time. Being brief is really knowing your stuff. Being brief also open up the floor for actual dialogue, collaboration, and that is a signal of your competence. And then quickly, the third point, why it matters. Why it matters, because, the stakes only get higher when you move up. At every level up, you get less time and more scrutiny. You are always judge, and as you go higher and higher in the organization, going from individual contributor to manager to leader, well, you are getting more and more eyes on you. When you're an individual contributor, you only have to explain your own work. Okay, so maybe only in a small group setting. But as you move up as a manager, you not just have to explain the work, you need to take them with you. Okay, let's all go that way. And when you're a leader, well, you need to move people. Like a company's vision, a quarter sales target, a launch of a new product, or worse, well, you need to at regional council meeting, you have to convince others to give you more resources or to convince them to follow your idea. Great idea and poor communications dies in the room, doesn't go anywhere. You don't need a great idea. You just need a good idea. Good idea, clear communication, actually get traction, get the resources, and get executed. And so that's the difference. The higher you go, the more you have to rely on your communication skills. I'm just going to quickly touch on this. This is also part of why it matters, because it all culminates into something called executive presence. That is something that I'm working on, another workshop on authentic leadership and executive presence. So essentially, this is this whole package, the total package of what other things of you. Not just how you present yourself, is not just in your head, of course, it is a part of it. The parameters, how you carry yourself. Okay. This is whether you're poised, your composure, when you speak, whether you have conviction, whether you appears to be authentic or credible, all that is all in your head. Okay. This untouchable aura about you. So that's what I will put in the gravity. The second part, I'm going to skip to the column on the right, is the appearance. It's how you dress, your posture, everything. And aside from that, aside the visual, is the energy that you have. Maybe, some would say whether you in the same posture, there's technique of mirroring someone's posture. So it's how you appear. And the middle column is what we're really talking about today, the communication piece. And we're going to focus on that today. And it's not just how you speak, it's also how you listen. Because communication is two-way, okay? At least at work it should be, okay? When you're at home, when you're talking to your kids, that may be one way, but talking to your dogs, yeah, for sure. But it's also it's speaking, listening, and also what we are touching on today, how you frame your ideas, using a framework to structure your ideas, not just rambling on and on trying to make your point. So if those who's in Toastmasters, so you know, the evaluation will always like to talk about how we can evaluate your speech based on two things, your content and your delivery. That's exactly what it is. Okay, not just your content, what really you want to say, and how you use the different framework to structure it, and then the delivery. Okay, your vocal variety, your pauses, and all the good stuff. Executive presence. So, last but not least, I know this is a very text-heavy slide. I have to redo this one slide, but the most important part that I want to talk about is the mindset shift. It's not just what you want to say. As clear and concise communication really needs you to put your audience first. Why is that? Well, because once you did that piece, everything else really follows. I will take this example. Say you are working with a new consultant, okay? Or it actually happened to me before. An old consultant is fired, not performing well. New consultant comes on board. Okay, so what do you need to do? You need to, well, think of the audience first. Well, you want to get things done, you want to tell them everything, but well, you need to set them up for success. You need to give them the sit rep. Who knows that term, sit rep? Who watch those sitcom like SEAL, FBI, you know. Thank you for getting me. The sit rep, what's the sit rep? Okay, you need to bring them up to speed. You need to give them context. Well, this is an old consultant. Well, this is why. This is what they have done so far, and this is why they failed. And this is the straw that broke the camel's back, and why they are now out the door. And now you're in 11th hour, and this is what's expected of you. Okay, so all this input up front. Okay, that's why you need to give the audience what they need to know. Okay, instead of what do I want to say. Okay, and here's the other point. I want to make this 2 big points here. I'm going to just make one more point. When I was younger too, I also think if you give more detail on something, you are more credible, okay? Or you talk longer, you give more details, you get more airtime, then you're more credible. But no, what you need to think about is you need to give the right amount of context to the right people. Like if you're reporting to a CEO or regional VP, okay, maybe not the CEO, regional VP, you don't give them all the details. What they want to know is the bottom line. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are clear. Clarity is credibility. Don't think that more is better. More detail, credibility, there's not an equal sign in there. Okay, more details, not good. I'll say a lot of time it backfires. Okay. On the occasion, you may have a very detail-oriented colleague that works with you. Most likely, your same rank, yeah, you could talk about it. But you could give them the whole lowdown of try not to do it in front of the big team, try not to do it at a meeting. You could give them the big background, the whole saga, maybe over lunch, drink, but think long and hard of how much context you're going to give and what is the one thing that matters most to what's getting things done now. Is that a hand for question? Okay. Okay, Lewis, okay. Okay, so just remember, communication is not about you, it's about the audience. So now, moving quickly into the second part of the talk, which is the skill set. The skill set is the mechanic of clear speech because while we have, as I promised, clear and concise communication. Right? So let's tackle the clear part of the formula. And I have 3 challenges that most people face when we are trying to do clear communication. And the first thing is, what we are already looking out for. Here, I'm not going to labor on it. The filler words, the catchphrases, and the long words. Long words is the ums and ahs. The filler words are the okay, okay, or sometimes it's called false start. Sometimes people may start the sentence, repeat the first few words twice, just because the brain hasn't quite caught up with your mouth yet. So that's why, that's why you repeat. Well, that's a demonstration of that. And clutch phrases is almost similar to the filler words, okay? Sometimes it's a longer phrase. Without further ado was overused a lot. There's one workshop that I have attended, the facilitator said, without further ado, as a way to segue between one segment to another segment, and said it like 4 times in an hour. Well, and what's the fix? All you have to do is just move on. No one needs to know that. And the same with all the other filler words, non-words, the false start. And you're all in the right place to help fix that, because, well, the first thing is awareness. Then the intent. You need to first be aware that you're committing these sins of communication, cardinal sins of communication. But, well, then you can fix it. Having that pause, or maybe taking a deep breath before that. Okay. Another quick trick, when you are asked about quiz, oh, right, why don't you just give us a quick update on that new initiative that you're doing? If you are asked, if you're put on a spot, you can always buy yourself time. Oh, I say, that's an excellent question. Pleased to share with you the latest update. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I've been doing. So what you want to do is, well, hopefully while your mouth has say these sort of phrases. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be here and to give you the update, and you are really structuring the rest of the message. And in Toastmaster, we always like to, when we change, well, when we take over the podium, we always say, address the person, and then address the crowd, and that's essentially buying yourself time. Well, thank you, Alan, for inviting me over here, and welcome everyone, dear Park Toastmaster guests and members, and especially so-and-so. And you could make all those rounds. If you're in, the same goes for Zoom meeting. If you have a big team, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, good day, and then you move on. Provide yourself some time, because you probably don't want to have a very long pause, but address the person who has thrown the hot potato to you, thank the person, address the crowd, and then buy yourself some time, and also speak at a slower pace, and that definitely helps. Second, often we're told that, in the evaluation of the speech, you have a monotone delivery, you sound monotone, or you need greater vocal variety. Well, you sometimes may find that, you're not able to hold the crowd's attention. Well, they are drifting in and out, they are all starting to bring out their phone to look at things, and something is happening. So first, if you have been told that you have a monotone delivery, or if you are monotone, there are several exercises that you could do, and your voice is an instrument. It's a muscle, so you just have to play it, you train it, okay? So there are several exercises, and I learned this from another Toastmaster from my other Toastmaster club. I'm also a part of an online bilingual Toastmaster club, and this DTM in Singapore. He's was executive presence coach, and these are his exercise when he's coaching middle level executive to move up. A lot of time their communication skills lackluster. They may not exactly be monotone, but they are not really using the 88 keys of the whole piano. That's an analogy, or is that a metaphor? That's a metaphor. But well, the first exercise is the rubber blubber mouth tongue exercise. So you want to really relax your mouth. There's a lot of exercise you could do. So this is the reason that you're monotone is you're not moving your mouth enough. A lot of times they say, oh, all you have to do is enunciate your word. But it's sort of hard, like, okay, enunciate your word, but exactly how you do it. This exercise, that exercise is like the warm-up before you have to actually move your mouth, because, well, your mouth you can say, oh yeah, just move your mouth more, exaggerate the movement. Well, easier said than done. Well, you haven't been using those muscles, so that is the warm-up exercise for that. So the second exercise is called the roller coaster pitch exercise. Well, how do you know that your voice could be as low as this? And you could do these crazy little voice like this. Well, you need to discover it yourself. So the roller coaster pitch exercise goes like this. You go the woo. So essentially you're exploring the range of your voice. And I encourage you to try at home, but not in front of people. So unless you want to be, well, unless, in a situation like this, or girls night out, the best friend, and you want to improve together, then yes, do it together. But doing it during your shower is an excellent time to do it. And the last thing is the breathing exercise. A lot of times they have people who's monotone, or sometimes it's also they are not really projecting their voice, so they are not coming across as a very confident person. The breathing exercise is about breathing deeply into the diaphragm. I know you've probably heard it before, but you also have to train and do it. And it's just, I know this is an embarrassing part of the workshop. So you deeply breathe into your diaphragm, and then you really just eject or you expel all your air in one go. Okay, so boom, boom. So you need to do these exercises. Do 3 sets of those, alternate them. Depending on how long your shower is, okay? So think of your voice, and then later on when you have figured that out, think of your voice as the highlighter. You want to figure out in a sentence where you want to put emphasis and where you want to leave them plain. So that's where you put the accents, the volume in it. Okay. Challenge 3 is speaking with an accent. And this is also my lived experience because English is not my first language. But having an accent is not a flaw. It's evidence that you have multilingual ability and you have lived experience elsewhere. The most important part is to first, like the ums and ahs issue, you need to first be aware of it. Okay, how do you figure it out? Well, you ask people. Well, you're in a friendly place, maybe at a Toastmaster meeting. Once you've joined a club, you can find out whether or not your accent is impeding understanding. So you could have an accent, but does it interfere with other people receiving your message? Does it make it strenuous to understand what you have to say? So that is, if that's the case, then you have to work on it. Second thing, target the weak area. So once you figure out, okay, I need to work on it. So the question is, how do I target the weak area? How do I find out? Well, with technology, you can, and I've tried this myself. All you have to do, you go to ChatGPT, and you can put this prompt. I am a native speaker in, I'm going to use myself as an example, in Cantonese and Mandarin. I want to eliminate my accent in English. Can you tell me what are some of the common pronunciation issues with this language set? It will tell you. It also has ability to listen to you, so you could listen, you could have a recording, you could speak a passage, and it will address it. So, and I will also use this example. I'm a designer, and I watch a lot of videos about luxury hotels, luxury design, and a lot of them are French. And a lot of them, and you could tell some of them have very strong accent, and when you watch the video, they will give you the subtitle right away because they know it's very hard for you to understand them. And there are people, you could tell that they are French speaker because of certain words, but they are okay. They are okay to understand. They are easier to understand. And this is why I said if you give ChatGPT that prompt, it will tell you. It's the same way that, you know, if you think of someone who's, like the example I have, the French, and the French speaker, or it could be an Indian speaker, someone who's English speaker with Indian background. You know right away without looking what is their native tongue because of certain words and how they have placed the accent. So a few tips: master the flow of the sentences. There are times that the actual word that the accent is wrong. I mean, with French, it's always happen. They later say, oh, you have to prioritize the improvement of the supply chain. And the way they say prioritize, they have the accent at the very last syllable, so that's wrong. But most of the time, it's not just the actual word, it's the entire flow of the sentence that set it off. And yes, there are several words, there are several sounds that people from a certain native tongue always have problems, struggle to pronounce. So those are areas that you could tackle and tell me that, oh, Cantonese speaker, you know, the TH sound, the R sound, you know, with the tongue roll over the tongue, blah, 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 blah. Or the larger A, R sound. So there are different language set have different issues. So target those, but once you have that few sound fixed, then you focus on the flow of the sentence. Because in English, you don't have it's not an equal speed or rhythm. You don't put it's not, how can I put it? They call it is stress space, not syllable space, but what it really means is not every single syllables have the same tempo. So in a sentence, there are times that you are linking the words. So like the very last sentence, own it, don't apologize, compensate with structure and clarity. And you can see that, I didn't say compensate with structure and clarity, because that is putting an emphasis in every single word. So I guess the key is when you listen more, and then there's other people that say you do shadow exercise, you listen to a native speaker and you follow, you hear that one sentence and you follow it away, try to mimic the flow of the sentence. There are different ways to practice, but I think the most important thing is find out if there's a few key sounds that you could fix, and that could fix a lot of it. Just remember the real goal of this is being legible or being intelligible and not to neutralize it. Because believe it or not, if you're in luxury industry, having a French accent, that's like a tree that you could have, and you're designing yachts, and Italian background, or you're in cruise industry, Italian background is also very, very desirable. So it's not about shying away from all accent. So let's get to the what, the tool set, the framework. I have researched, I have 10 framework, but today, because of time, I'm just going to share 3, okay? And before I could actually share the framework, there's something that we have to be mindful of. It's called the golden triangle of communication. And this is a crossover from my other workshop, the analogy workshop, because before you could use the analogies, think how creative you could make your narrative is, you also have to consider this, the golden triangle of communication. What does it mean? You have to first know your content. You need to know what to say. You have your message, but it's not just that. It's not just what do I need to say. It's also how much. I think that sometimes, sometimes you've all been there. Sometimes some things it should be just in 2 emails, or some things should be just in 2 different meetings, different teams, different people. What do I need to say is the content and the context. Why does it matter now? What it really means is, why am I bringing this up now? Why am I sharing this with you now? Why do I have to say it? It's not to be, because I'm asked, or before it's the meeting. It means that the context is, why does it matter now? As in, you are saying all these things because the purpose of this is to align the whole team. There is a goal for this conversation. It's not just to catch up and then, it's not just a stand-up meeting. The stand-up meeting, the goal of it is to get everyone on the same page, make sure we are all aligned. The last thing is the audience. Who am I talking to? Are these my peers? Are these inter-department, different department heads? Or is it client and me? Or is it, I'm reporting to regional VP, everyone are looking at the KPI, okay, the deadlines. Okay. What do they know already? Okay, that's another crucial part. Who are these people? Who are they? Is also somewhat related to how to the point it is, or how brief it is, or how fast you have to get to the point, because, the CEO doesn't have a lot of time for you to deal around. And what do they know already? That's also important. You don't want to go on talk the same thing. Are you the fifth person presenting? You can allude to something, but don't waste your time go over the same task. Before every work scenarios, before you have to, and it could be before every single meeting. You use a framework and you get everyone aligned. Okay. Do a quick pulse check with this, the golden triangle of communication, the content, context, and audience. And that's your GPS. It tells you where you're going before you choose which road to take. So, here it is, the first. I promise you an easy one. Okay. The first framework is called, well, as easy as 1, 2, 3, the 1, 2, 3 framework. And this, I have deep appreciation of this because I do training for interpreters. So this is a language neutral training to get them ready to be an over-the-phone interpreter. And they could have different mother tongues, and the session is delivered in English. And what I realized at the end, after the hour-long session, I need to sum it up. I need to give them, well, at the beginning, I said, well, there's only 3 things you have to do. You have to make sure you get on all the system, you get log on. The second thing is that all 3 things. Did I find out 3 things is good? What I figure out at the end is you need to make it really easy. 2 things. There are only 2 things you have to do to make it. You have to really distill it and boil it all down. 2 things. So this is a way to frame something up. So when you use 1, okay. So this could be the single thing, or it could be the only thing, or the one issue we have. Okay. And you want to make sure, when, say this is a round the table report, okay, you're a round robin, okay, stand up meeting, okay, let's open the floor and see if anyone have any input. So this is how you use the 1, 2, 3 framework. The single thing, or the one thing we need right now to decide is XYZ, because the deadline is coming up. So it helps people focus. Or it could be, right now we are facing 2 issues. With, on one hand, is it da-da-da, on the other hand, so you frame that up. Okay. It's the same way. It could be 3 steps, 3 actions, 3 stages. Okay. There are 3 takeaways for all of you, whatever it is. And you may have 10 points. But to make it easy, digestible, and memorable, because only memorable messages are actionable message. And, well, they get broadcast also. When, after the meeting, hey Brian, I missed this morning's stand-up meeting. What's the issues? What's new? Oh yeah, Janice brought up this one point about da. If I share 10 points, no one's gonna remember. Okay, so it could be whatever you have. It could be 2 ideas, 2 goals, 1 problem, 3 categories, 2 perspectives, whatever it is. So the key point for this is to say up front, okay, and make sure you repeat it at the end of this sentence too. So at the end of your passage, repeat that number. The one issue we have at the Toastmaster Club is the noise issues. And this issue is paramount because we can't hear the speaker. And if we could fix this one thing, that's going to. So if you're using this framework, try to use that number again in your conversation, so people really remembers it. It gives the listener a mental map, the one thing, the 2 things. Okay, you could couple with the gesture, 1, 2, 3. Okay, on one hand, 2, the other hand. So it's powerful that way. It gives people the framework and use head up front, and there's less work for them to do in their head, so they could really listen, understanding. Okay, this is a second framework. Yes, and but, therefore. So there's only 3 words you have to write down. Yes and, but, therefore. Okay. Yes and, so when someone's, this is a longer conversation, probably. It's not, you are not doing a monologue. So perhaps someone come to you and say, hey, Janice, I heard that you have moved to the new team and handling the project with ABC client. How did that go? Okay. Summer is coming up. There's a lot of occasion to socialize with your colleagues, whole company. So here it is. How did that go? So the response is always yes and this is a little bit from my hospitality background, a little bit from improv. Yes and you are really taking it the let the question land. Yes, Patricia. Yes, Patricia. So the second thing people like to hear is yes. It's people's own name. Yes, Patricia, and that has been going great. The team is wonderful, the client is really happy with our work. And then here the second word, but, okay, because, well, it's never so simple, right? It's never so straight line. But we are hitting a snag with the new build, but, we are running into an issue with XYZ, or but, okay. It is, but the fun day is getting pulled now, or but, always, and then therefore, there's always an asterisk, trying to change things around. Okay, it's also bringing it back to the person who started our conversation. Therefore, I was hoping to heat up a time with you to see if I could borrow some resources. Therefore, but we are getting a little bit behind in the crisis. Therefore, I would like to pick your brain on your experience with, stage 3 of ABC company overall. So this is helpful when you are trying to have move a more casual dialogue into a direction. Okay, so yes, but. Yes and, but, therefore. Okay, so yes and, you address the person, you build momentum, you agree with that person. Yes, and I heard my name, I like that. And then you expand on it. It's really a 3-sentence structure, but when you introduce plot twist, okay? It's never as simple as 1, 2, ABC, right? So, well, never as simple as 1, 2, 3. So that's a throwback, a callback to the first framework. But anyway, there's the tension, there's a problem, there's a pivot, there is a branch, right? But we are hitting a snag. This is the issue. Blah, blah, blah. So here's the ask. Here comes therefore. Well, I'm hoping to get some resources from you, but you're doing your call to action piece. Therefore, I'm putting together a brain trust, and I would like to. So here's the ask. These 3 words connect the pieces together and help people understand what you're trying to convey. And it's the backbone of a compelling argument. You're trying to convince them to get resources. The last framework I'm share with you here is bottom line up front. Okay, this is bottom line up front is applicable both in verbal and in written communication. So what you want is first you give them the result. Bottom line, what's the bottom line? Okay, here's the ask. Bottom line is we need to increase our membership by 10 people in order to be in a healthy state. That is the point that you want to make. The bottom line. What's the context? Okay. Provide background that everyone needs, okay, but don't, okay, this is briefly, okay, this is also bottom line up front. The essence of it is that it's a very compact message because, well, the CEO doesn't have a lot of time for you, okay? So, point, and then context, and then the last thing is the action. Tell them explicitly what you need from them, and by when. Okay. This is the example. I need your approval on the revised budget by this Friday. That's the point. We are 10% over due to the scope change in phase 2. So that's the context. So please review the summary and reply with a sign-off, or I'm free Friday, I'm free Thursday, or all day today for questions or for a quick meet. So that's the action. Okay. I need a sign-off by this day. So bottom line up front, don't, in the past you may do it sequentially, so please see attached revised budget, blah, 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 and then the last thing is, please review and sign. Okay. So this is the reverse, bottom line up front. How upfront it is could even be in the subject line. If you're in the written, you can reply by this date, or urgent. Well, actually, don't use urgent, this is all we use. Reply by this date. Reply required by Friday, or approval required by Friday. And then you say, revised budget for Q2. Blah, blah. Then you go on. I need this approved by Friday, the revised budget by Friday. We are 10% over due to scope change in phase 2. Please review attached. I'm available for question. So that is the explicit action that you need. That is all I have today. And I'm a little over time. I'm going to open, there it is. The very last slide. Quoting Bruce Lee, who else? The strongest, fastest agent out there. Knowing is not enough. I share with you 3 framework. Knowing is not enough, you must apply. So apply the willingness is not just not enough, we must do. So my challenge for you today, hopefully in the table topic session, you get to apply some of these framework. May not all apply, but 1, 2, 3, that one, pretty useful elsewhere. Pick a framework that you like and try to stick with it, because and use it for 5 days. Okay. Because it's also a training. It's a muscle memory. When you do it often, then it is quick. It also structures your thinking, so you always speak in an organized, methodological way, and clear and concise communication is not a talent. You cannot be born with it. Okay. It is a discipline. So now you know the method, now you have the knowledge, go apply it, pick something, pick a work scenario, try something, try it. Okay. Hopefully, all of you will build the habit of delivering clear and concise communication at work. So I'm going to open the floor for quick questions. That was a stretch again. Any questions?
So what's the 7 other? Do you have another workshop for that? Or?
So I'll give you one that top of mind. There's one that is well used by McKinsey. This is when they do a lot of their presentation deck. Is their format. They will have they will first state the problem. Okay. the state of AI adoption at work. So that could be the problem. Oh, this is called, let me try to think. The problem is stealth use of AI. Okay, this is when you are using AI at work, but you don't want your boss to know about it, and you want them to think that, oh, you really drafted that. You know, really do X, Y, Z all on your own. Okay. Okay. So the stealth use of AI is rampant at workplace.
Actually, they're trying to encourage everyone to use AI now.
Yes, but not stealth use.
Oh, stealth.
Yeah, so if you use it, so the problem is stealth use of AI is rampant. And then, well, so what? So that's the problem. So what? So what? Well, it means without proper tools, training, and parameter, or in fact, they like to say guardrails, without proper guardrails, companies are at risk of exposing sensitive client information when they are using ChatGPT and they have to upload a whole, can you sort this chart, Excel chart for me, all that stuff, right? So you're at risk of, so this is the problem, complication, so it's what, so what, and then here's what you pay the big money for the consultant to give the solution. This is the proposed solution. So we are, so this is another framework. So that's that is and there's a long version and a short version for that, but yes. Louis.
Sorry. Well, first, thanks for sharing. That's my first point. And my second point is trying to
Very good.
applying.
Very good.
Trying to make the path. And my second point is any tip that you can give us to, for example, when we're speaking, sometimes we are getting off the topic. Any tip to internally remind ourselves the framework?
Have the note. Have a note. You write down, 1, 2, 3, or whatever it is, or have a sticky note. Yes, and one sticky note say yes, and another sticky note that say but, and another say that therefore. You have it in front of you. Like, you don't have to write out the entire point, but having that three words there. I mean that's a good tip. Yeah. And then as you work it, then you will remember. I may not always use yes and but therefore, but I always say yes and because it's like by now it's sort of just drilled into me. It's yes and also in hospitality you never say no to your client, never say no to your guest, and you that's why you always say yes and. But at some point you have to say no to someone, but then you don't use but, and also you don't say yes but anyway, so just using it more, and at the beginning you will need some what they call job aid in training terms, so that post-it notes.
Okay.
So it could be one post-it note with all 3 words in there. There's another framework that literally you could use for post-it note, and you sort of do bullet point by each, and then you could sort of map out your mini speech. So that is, and this is also why I was saying that my challenge to you in the coming week is pick one of those frameworks and keep using it for 5 days. And instead of, okay, try this once, try that once, try this once, and nothing get work into your memory. You want to be able to, someone you were snoozing at the meeting, or your screen is on at a Zoom meeting, and then all of a sudden says, oh, Kat, give me an update on this, and then you go right away, and you go wake up from the middle of your daydreaming and still apply the framework. That's the goal, because we all want to daydream at hours. at our weekly Zoom meeting with this camera on. So, any other questions?
Yeah, just you said something interesting where you said English stress time, not syllable time. But I'm trying to figure out what the difference.
Why do I email you, Magic?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I will make sure I get your information and I'll email you about that.
Can you share your slides with anyone who could provide some email, or I can
I
send it?
have a handout.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I will share that later on. I guess you take email from your guest, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So I will make sure I share with you and then anything else?
I have a question. When you're talking or interviewing and when you're at work, can you tell that people have been trained to actually talk to you? Like I've noticed like a lot of politicians and often broadcasters will, for instance, if you ask any question, they'll say, that's a great question, right? And I'm just wondering if it's because they don't know the answer and they're just trying to.
I think that is either we were all trained by the same person, or it's just being well known. But I think in one-on-one communications at work, that I couldn't quite tell, but right now there's a lot of like these product launches or this app, a new feature, and they have a big like a live stream, and I could always tell if someone just reading the teleprompter or someone have like the speech is just what I would call manicured. It's really manicured. It's what I would phrase it. It's very different from politicians at say a debate. They may not have the exact phrase, but you could tell who is a stronger speaker naturally. So yeah, in a one-on-one setting, it's kind of hard to tell, but you realize you do know that so-and-so is going to speak again. It's just like you knew that you could like sort of like fade out a little bit because it takes them a while to get to the point, or you sort of get to know the speaking style of the people. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone. So just unplug the.
Sure. And I'd like to move on to the next session. We have table topics. We have about 10 official minutes left, but we can go a little bit over time. The library doesn't mind. But I'd like to introduce Dimitri, who will lead the table topics portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to move on to the spotlight. Thank you, Mr. Chair, loved members, and welcome guests. Welcome to the table topics improvisation section of our meeting. Some people they're actually fortunate to have an inborn ability of thinking on their feet. And we can witness this from time to time in this room when someone comes onto the stage from the guest and delivers a decent improvisation speech, but most of us have to cultivate this skill of organizing mental thoughts, exercising creativity, and coming up with a response within mere seconds. So this section helps you cultivate that skill of thinking on your feet and practice it in a friendly and supportive atmosphere. And especially if you want to be a politician, that's a great stage to prepare for their career. Before I proceed, I would like to ask if any of our guests would like to participate. I strongly encourage you because it's a positive stress. There's no tiger chasing you. You might feel fear, but you're not in danger. So if anyone of the guests wants, just please raise your hand.
think we have to maybe put a
I guess
demo
Louis
first.
wants to too. It's the gentleman there too. So guys, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Because everything you want is on the other side of the field, right? So even if it doesn't come out right, it's good. As long as you make the first move, you're all set. You gave momentum and it's gonna go forward. Okay, I want to pass the sticky notes. Please take one note and later at the end we'll vote for the best paper speaker. Please. Thank you. All right, so the way it's going to work today, I'm going to read the question. And as I said, I put you on the spot. I'll just pick someone from the crowd, and you have to come up here and talk. And Mr. Chair, I think we don't have time today.
I'll be the timer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you have from 1 to 2 minutes to deliver the speech. And you'll see the timer will show you. Mr. Timer, could you please tell us the time procedures?
Yeah, so it would be 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, I hold up a green. 45 seconds, I hold up a yellow. And then red, hold up at 1 minute. And that's the time limit.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get started. The subject of the fatal topics improvisation today is effective workplace communication. And the first question, if you had to explain your project to the CEO of the company in 1 sentence, what would it be? Try it now. And it's gonna be Brian.
Oh, that's bad. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. I forget what your title is. Thank you for the question. I would like to propose that we make Toastmasters an every night thing so we can all meet here at roughly 6:30 from Monday to Sunday. And I would like you to endorse that idea as a group.
Thank you, Brian. Miscommunication moments. Share a time when one small word would change. Wait a second. Share a time when one small word change would have prevented a whole email thread. What happened? And it will be Patricia. Yeah, please come, Patricia, and get the spotlight.
Thank you. Could you repeat the
Yes.
question?
Miscommunication moment. Share a time when one small word change would have prevented a whole email thread. What happened?
Yes. When I was communicating with a friend once, she proposed going to a movie. And I was typing very quickly, and instead of saying that I did want to go, I said that I didn't, which was a surprising response from her. So from that I learned when you're replying to someone's emails, take your time and proofread something before you send it off.
Patricia? Okay, Slack versus face-to-face. When do you ditch the chat and just walk to someone's desk? Where's the line for your team? Jim? I'm gonna repeat it for you. Slack versus face-to-face. When do you ditch the chat and just walk to someone's desk? Where's the line for your team? Oh, John.
Sorry. I think somewhere between the 5th and 10th message, it's time to probably at least have a face-to-face about the conversation, because things are clearly getting lost in the communication chain. So it's better just to go over, realign, and move forward with the conversation that you're trying to have. Thank you.
All right, the next one will be okay, feedback styles. Do you prefer sandwich feedback or straight to the point? What's landed best for you? Victoria.
Yes, so in terms of feedback, when I'm receiving it, I prefer the sandwich method. I believe that if you're going straight to the point, sometimes a message can come across a little bit aggressive, or maybe it might highlight a weakness or something that you need to work on a bit too strongly. So from my experience, it's always helpful to start with the strength, highlighting the person's strengths, make them feel good before you deliver the message, then put the message in there, then structuring it that way really helps soften the message while making it clear, but also not being too aggressive with your communication.
Mr. Chair, do we have more time?
Yes, we do.
Okay. The next one will be silence in meetings, awkward pause or thinking time. How would you rate quiet teammates versus disengaged ones? Jason.
Nope.
Oh, you know how they say, you live only once.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not
Just-
doing it.
You're not doing? Okay. Louis, then.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. It's silence in meetings, awkward pause, or thinking time. How would you rate quiet teammates versus disengaged ones?
Okay. Okay, when it comes to those awkward moments when you're in that meeting, everyone maybe has been in those moments. What I propose to do is obviously read the room and try to make a joke, or try to point out a point that you already mentioned, and try to start from there, or put yourself in a situation. For example, try to say, going back to that previous point, we can try to blah, 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 and then look at someone and what do you think about this? So in that way, you're trying to engage someone in the audience. That's gonna be my recommendation to that situation.
Thank you, boys. Our next question, bad meeting rescue. What's your go-to move when a meeting goes off the rails? Is it 2-minute recap, parking lot, or hard stop? And the question goes to Manjit.
So can you repeat that?
Yeah, definitely. Bad meeting rescue. What's your go-to move when a meeting goes off the rails? 2-minute recap, parking lot, or hard stop?
Park Toastmasters are most welcome guests. We're going to have those kind of meetings where it's out of control. And at the end of the day, for me, it is knowing that there's going to be one or two people that are creating the problems. And you have others who they need to hear something strong because they probably feel the same way. We have this thing where people think the same thing, but they don't articulate it. So I always go and champion the people that are not the negative type, and then channel to them and get their voice in there with the hope that maybe the person who's grading the problem is now seeing a different frame coming from the room. The worst thing to do is touch the hot potato, and that is putting your hand on a burning kettle. So you take some toys. At the end of the day, if it continues, you can always go and do a timeout, park it up. We'll discuss it. Same way as Janice said to me, I'll get you that on an email. So there are nice ways of getting back to that center. Ultimately, this is where the vacuity comes in. You figure yourself of any of your expertise, and just get to the very basics of it. Just think of it.
So that's it, right?
Yes.
So please quickly vote for the best table topic speaker. I will repeat the names. So it was, our speakers were Patricia, with a small word change that was changed, implemented that email thread. Jan, with Slack versus face-to-face. Victoria, about feedback styles. Manjit, about that meeting rescue. Brian, the explaining project to the CEO. And Luis, silence in meetings. And this concludes table topics improvisations. I turn control back to Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, table topics leader, I'm the chair. So wordsmith counter, how many times was the word vacuous used?
The word vacuous, Judy was used just once, so it's a harder word, I guess. And we did quite well with our ums and ahs, only 7 out of 9 ums and 3 nos.
While the table topics leader is counting, I'll just make some quick announcements. So next week, exactly 1 week from now, is June 24th. We have a meeting here. It will be upstairs. There's a room 204 upstairs, a little bit bigger than this room and a little bit more private. There won't be any kids on the outside, like crying or screaming. But we'll be upstairs, and there's actually 2 speakers. Our own members will be speaking and doing a pathways speech. And I think Kelsey's doing a speech, and then Sarah's doing a speech. So we are looking for some roles next week. We have right now the chairperson, the Toastmaster role is open, the table topics leader role is open, and the general evaluator. So if you want to sign up for that role, any of the members, please let me know at the end of the meeting. Thank you. And I'd like to close the meeting by thanking Janice Law for doing an excellent presentation, very helpful. And if you want to have the electronic version, I think she has a handout, but I think would you be okay with sending out any emails or anything, or sending out a electronic version of it, or?
The slide deck?
Yes, slide deck or no?
Probably not,
Probably not, okay.
but the handout will have
Excellent,
the
okay.
small format.
Awesome. And guests, if you filled out the guest form, please pass that form to me. We would like to be able to contact you for any future workshops and any future meetings that we have. Thank you. All right. Now this concludes. Oh,
quick question. July 1st is a Wednesday night.
July 1st, there is no meeting. Yeah. So next week, the June 24th, but the week after, there is no meeting. Thank you. All right. Thank you for coming.
Mr. Chair, we need one more.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
and the count is ready, so
yes. We have a tie between Luis and Manjit.
Okay,
So we need one more.
sure. All right, well, it's time is happening. Wow, looks like it's making a time. Here you go.
Well, it's my first District 16.
Congratulations.
So the table topic memorization winners are Luis and Manjit.
Sorry, Luis.
Congratulations. So Manjit, it's you. And Luis, come over here. Yeah, maybe let's go in the spotlight. Yeah, please.
Oh,
The first time. What's up? It will be like this.
All right, ready? All right. Thank you. Okay, wonderful. And return the, or you can leave the guest forms on the table.
So it's just everything that John explained?
Yes.
Okay. Meet your expectation?
They did.
Okay, good. Will there be more remakes that come in later?
Nice to see you.
Right now,
At different times. Yeah. No, we for a couple of weeks
Sorry about that.
Thank you very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Not to miss that.